So Martin will provide us an overview about different cases that they have tested in Austria. Thank you, and Martin.
Okay. The last sheets of the previous presentation was a bit of a surprise to me, but you will soon know why. Okay, I'd like to jump right into this, telling you that every motorcycle rider has a certain limit for roll angle. Riders will typically ride next to their roll angle in the curves they have the chance to do so, and they will never exceed their personal roll angle limit. Concerning that, there are only two kinds of curves. On the one hand, we have the easy ones actually, where speed determines your lean angle. And we have the other kind of curves, which tend to be the more dangerous ones, where your personal speed, your personal limit for the lean angle determines the speed you can actually go through the respective corner. So then we ask ourselves, what are the typical crashes? If a person exceeds or rides next to its personal speed limit. So what we typically see is not crashing into oncoming traffic. What we definitely see is riders running off the road, and as we know from a study from Australia, half of them still sitting on their bikes, running into guardrails. So it's not crashing the oncoming traffic. However, as you can see on that, the problem is if you manage to avoid the oncoming traffic, the corner you then have to ride is closer than the previous one. And as I told you, riders never exceed their personal limit for roll angle. But what you definitely need would be more roll angle. And you don't have that, and this is why they exactly run off the road. So how can we avoid that? But before we look at that, we look at types of motorcycle riders. This one, definitely too fast. It was no problem with the roll angle limit. It was a problem with the road. This one, completely different. Compare the roll angle with the motorcycle race riders even in pouring rain. So it is minimal, less than 20% of roll angle. And a switch in the brain of this rider said, you're not gonna make it. And he ran off the road. Or this one. But for this one, it was just the road too narrow. Okay. That video actually was shot by one of the cameras which we used for evaluation. Okay. Actually, we hid in the bushes, filming motorcycle riders, counting where they are going, and what we found is that only 5% have the correct track, stay away from the oncoming bus. 79% would have probably hit the bus or would have had to avoid the bus, and 16% would even fit it between the A-pillars of the bus. Sometimes you are lucky. This is no photoshopping, this is a right term, but we were lucky. The rider there was the instructor. So, what can we do about it? Actually, we know that, well, the sentence actually is not true. It is not true that riders don't like road markings, but they don't like to go over. So we decided we paint the road markings where we don't want the riders to go. In several curves, we wanted to know whether this is suitable to change trajectories, and our first attempt in 9 curves in 3 different Austrian regions was yes. We are able to change trajectories with road markings along the center line. We are able to change the trajectories of a wide range of riders. So that was an attempt right after painting these markings to the road. Actually, we are not painting them. It is sheet material, and we glue it to the floor. So we did a second evaluation 3 years later, because you need a little bit of time to have enough crashes there to do a before and after study. And what we have learned in this second evaluation is that the markings even worked better in terms of changing the trajectories, and we could tell that where previous to installing these markings were 16 crashes, afterwards only 7. So that could be something like a 50% decrease. Not that much, and by far too few to have significant information. We started exporting the thing to Luxembourg, and they had the same very good results. Of course, nothing about crashes so far, but they have the same results, more or less the same very positive results in terms of changing trajectories. So they were able to keep riders away from the center line. You know this picture already? The same worked in Slovenia, where they still have the road races, but they take place on the own lane of the rider. They're still racing there, but it's not that dangerous actually anymore. Then something quite funny happened. The Austrian region of Tyrol asked us to do something about the motorcycle crashes they have. They have very many people from abroad crashing there and dying on their roads. They don't want that. They said, do something, but do it now. We want immediate impact. So painting road markings is quite easy a task. So what I did is use our crash analysis tool to find out the dangerous curves, go there, paint the road. 3 years later, we wanted to know what is the impact to crashes. We went back to the same 19 curves. We had an analysis where there were 6.5 slight and severe injuries and almost a bit more than a half fatality per year. In the after period, it was only 2 slight and 2 severe injuries. Now, the after period went through the corona pandemic, so you have to control for exposure. That's what we did. And in the end, we find 18% less crashes than before. And what we also found is that riders tend to experience these elliptic markings on the road as a particular information for them. Only for them. You know, riders tend to, if you have a warning sign like dangerous curves on the next 10 kilometers, the higher the number, the better. Well, this is where I want to go. They do not take this information serious. But if you have these particular markings on the road, this is a sign for a rider. This is for you. For you, it's dangerous. It directly addresses riders, and they experience that way. Okay. That was about rural infrastructure. Of course, road markings are not everything for rural infrastructure. We also need predictable alignment. We need predictable friction. We need for giving road signs, for instance, to place chevrons for highlighting the alignment of a road on a steel pole. Is not the wisest of things. Guardrails, best thing, take them away if you don't need them. At least retrofit them with motorcycle fit additional guardrails. And sum up all that in your own road design guidelines for motorcycles. So, a little bit back now, since I have a minute left. For if somebody would ask me for the cost of road markings, what would you estimate? Well, I tell you, for the cost of a single injury, we could paint the road for 100 years. For a fatality, it's 10,000 years. So this is rather effective. No, it's not only effective, it's also efficient. Yes? Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. Thanks for listening.